Back to my original thing that set this off about the attacks on our food supply. We've all seen them for a couple years now, all the fires and the beef kills and everything else. Well, listen to this one.
Today I wanted to talk about what's going on in Idaho, because some of you have probably heard about this, but the state of Idaho has put a water curtailment order, which is basically a water shutoff order on literally 500,000 acres of farmland. That's a lot of potatoes. A lot of these farmers, this impacts about 6,400 water users, but a lot of these farmers that are farming this land have already invested thousands of acres, thousands of dollars per acre to grow potatoes.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Trevor Belknap. I operate a family farm, a fifth-generation family farm in the Snake River Valley of eastern Idaho. And I just wanted to visit with you for a minute about the impacts of the water curtailment order that's been issued by Director Weaver from the Idaho Department of Water Resources. The situation in which we find ourselves is about as bad as it gets. Not only will we be out of business, many other businesses will be highly impacted, and you, as my friends and neighbors, will also be impacted because we're so interconnected. If the ag economy in eastern Idaho fails, which it surely will if this curtailment order is in place, it can remain in place, will dry up and blow away, just like it did back in the Dust Bowl of the 30s. Banks will fail, equipment dealers, car dealers, gas stations, grocery stores, all rely on the ag economy that's here in eastern Idaho. The children in our schools, how many of them belong to families who work in some form of ag industry in eastern Idaho? It's horrible, and we need to fix it. And I would propose to you that it is not a water problem, it's a management problem, because we have water. Reservoirs are full, the mountains are covered in snow, the river's been flowing well. So why now? Why, after we've planted our crops, we have crops in the ground, they're already growing. Now, in the middle of June, they pull a curtailment order to say, you must cease pumping water. The cost is huge. An acre of potatoes costs upward of $4,000 an acre to grow. How will that ever be recovered? They will not grow without water. And what will that do to everyone else that's reliant upon us in this area and the state of Idaho? What will the counties do for roads and bridges, police departments, ambulances, hospitals that rely on the tax base? Property like this will become worthless. Without water, the land doesn't have any value here.
That's heartbreaking, man. To think that some bureaucrat is either doing that on purpose or too stupid to understand the consequences is beyond crazy. You know who owns a lot of those farms or where they sell a lot of those potatoes to? McDonald's.
Yep.
Those are Idaho's. Those are the big ones.
Yeah. I got to say, we have a really smart audience. Charlene hits the nail exactly on the head. What he's saying is exactly what the government elites like Bill Gates want to happen. We talked earlier about the red tape in the government and government bureaucracies. This is things that are being imposed that aren't being voted on. They are targeting the food supply because they know, farmers are independent. They don't like government. They don't need regulations. They are freedom-loving people in that part of the country. And the more that we have access to do business with farmers like those guys, the better it is for us, the worse it is for the elites. They get that farmer running out of business through regulations. The farmland gets gobbled up by a corporation. They then remove the legislation. And all of a sudden now you've got a corporation.
Monsanto.
Right. Yeah, you've got a corporation now controlling more of our food supply. And the government's completely good with that because they're in on it with them. They don't want the independent farmer to make food for you. They want a corporation to make food. And don't worry, we're going to run out of potatoes. We're going to run out of it long enough for those guys to go out of business and Bill Gates or some other jerk to buy
Chinese.
Right. Yeah. The Chinese, somebody that is less independent minded than those farmers. That's all the longer they're going to make the potato shortage.
Mike Lindell here. And like you, I see our country being destroyed daily. We face massive economic issues. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are people in power who threaten the values that have made our country great. Well, I've been a believer in gold and silver for a long time, and I've searched for years for a partner that shares my values. Well, Genesis Gold Group showed me how easy it is to protect your IRA, 401k, or your retirement with gold and silver. Their faith-driven approach to service and stewardship is one that stands out from the rest.
To get your free definitive gold guide and get started learning more about investing in gold and protecting your retirement from uncertain times, visit rvmgold.com now. Fill out the basic contact form and a member of the team will be in touch. Again, that's rvmgold.com or call 855-625-7760.